All right, I'm like getting antsy um, because I'm trying to like process. I got terrible sleep last night. We went camping, but I needed to talk to someone, and you're the only one that understands me. So sad, so sad. Because it's true. All right, so so Breck and I have been going through this season, trying to figure out what are we supposed to do? Our kids are getting older and having opinions. Miles stated the other day that he wasn't, he's not, he doesn't like when we post our life online all the time. Um, and I think there's a little bit misunderstanding. He sees like some of the more, I think, famous people we hang out with. And so I think he thinks that we have that reach when really like Breck posts to like our friends stuff, and we have maybe a bigger friend reach and maybe like a small fan group. But from our personal stuff, it's not like it goes out to thousands, even. Yeah, I would say maybe thousands. and uh, so I think there's a little bit of misunderstanding there. That being said, they have been, our kids have had enough exposure to being famous, YouTube famous, if you will, through the Adventure Agent stuff, and seeing. Are you serious? Come on, I can help. You go. He's slipping backwards. Okay. They've been, I think, exposed enough to understand it and see, like, look at their friends who are always recognized and trying to figure that out. So anyway, long story short, it just plays into how we um, navigate from here. I think it was an eye-opening thing for Breck and I both to just kind of have that realization, like, oh, yeah, like our kids have their own needs, and we can't just um, drag them along or drag them through what we need in every moment. We have to adjust. So I've been kind of thinking about this for a while, really since moving here to Port Angeles. Biking has been a big, I think, therapy for that. Because it's something we can do as a family. I can get excited about it. We can, it's cool. Like there's elements to that where it still keeps us together, but we can still kind of stretch our wings a little bit. And so I've been like, Breck and I have been talking about this tandem idea about doing like video production for the biking industry and events, maybe not just specifically biking, but like other events as well. And how that could be an opportunity for us to make money um, while like spending time as a family. And then I think the biggest thing for us is like involving our kids in our work, so them understanding hard work, like being able to take on tasks and roles, at a younger age, just by being around and kind of seeing the whole process of what we do. I think that's important, especially like the work I do now is website design, and our kids, they know what websites are, but I think the reality is by the time they're adults, websites are going to be, I don't know, who knows, pointless maybe. Um, so when they come in, they try to watch me work or something, it just, they don't really understand it. They can't really participate in it. I don't really enjoy it, so it's kind of like I think it's a ticking time bomb. I think there's a timer on how much I do websites specifically. So I'm thinking about this biking world and the boys and girls, not just the boys. I think I just haven't spent enough dedicated time with Briar and Greta in it, but they enjoy it. They enjoy riding. They enjoy getting out. They enjoy the environment too. So it's not necessarily that they enjoy competing as much as I think they enjoy the environment. So I've just been thinking, what can I do as a dad that sets them up for success without ruining them. I'm not over engineering their life or putting expectations on them. And I've been thinking about like that balance, and I watch like parents potentially overinvest in branding or marketing their kids. And I think the best thing I can do, and it's kind of been happening naturally um, this last year, I would say, of Breck and I getting more involved in stuff, being around the pump track, volunteering at the pump track, like help building, like seeing, like exposing our kids to that process. And then like Breck runs the social media, so we're there all the time. And so through that, Miles and Maverick and Briar and Greta have, their bike skills have improved. Miles has thrown tricks off of the pump track stuff, and we haven't even, like, that's not us like pushing him or anything. It's just like we're enjoying this environment together as a family, and naturally being around it just makes you better. And so I've been thinking about that, and I'm like, man, what can I do to continue to foster that healthy side of association, that kind of shows the hard work, the building pieces. I recorded and then it froze up on me. So how can we show the back end, behind the curtain a little bit to our kids? It gives us something to do and be excited and contribute, I think, not just show up and take pictures and post our kids on Instagram. While also having a work element. And I like the idea of like supporting other groups and like being around that, because this is something I've been even thinking about. Brekkie Breck is like, Brekkie Breck's our thing. It's Breck's face. So there's a certain point where it just feels weird and not narcissistic, but just self-indulging for us to promote it. Whereas if we can come support other programs and get paid for it, so it's something that we're not just giving out free work all the time, but we're able to support them with the skills and make it worth their investment in time and our investment in time. I think that could be a really beautiful balance between everything that we've been experimenting with and growing as a family. And so I was thinking, I'm like thinking like, man, I have all these skills and understanding of the YouTube world, what it takes to be successful as a micro influencer, I'll say. And I don't have any desire to do that. Like, I don't have a why. And so I think about, like, oh man, yeah, like I feel like I could run a pretty successful YouTube channel myself. I don't really have a why. And then I have like, even like Maya saying that, it's like, yeah, you're right. Like, we don't need to post. Like, it's pointless. And so, but I was thinking, I was watching some other YouTubers that are bike specific, and their channel structures are really basic. Their engagement is really basic, and they get a lot of traction in the mountain bike and biking community. But they've just been consistent. And I'm like, man, if we're already involving ourselves in the back end business, if I'm learning and growing and networking, how cool would it be to have a front facing side that doesn't necessarily have to be our family per se, as much as it's like we find an angle that's like our mountain bike channel, or and again, it's not vlogs, it can be reviews, it can be maybe vlogs at events, but it doesn't need to be like we go out and vlog to get content. It's like, hey, we're at this event, we're holding cameras, so I'm just gonna like record while we're here. I think that can be maybe more of a brand engagement side of Tandem. And the goal, I think, with that is to have entity that is represented in the industry that my kids could benefit from association. Um, but not, it doesn't need to be their name. I don't need to put, Miles Johnson Instagram and get him blown out there. I look at it. But that's it. And I think for me, it's like, how can I give my kids those same opportunities without needing to like put this expectation to be something on their name? So maybe they're invited to the same events as these people. They're not highlighted on the clickbait stuff or the promo for it, but they get to be a part of it. They get to be a part of it. I'm gonna send an email. Anyway, they get to be a part of it. So I've been thinking about how to do that, and I'm starting to see this bigger picture and approach that could be successful, gives our kids and our family an out if it's not the life they want to live. We're not putting their names first, but it puts us in that industry to where we get to choose from there. So I've been looking at the Deegans and how the Deegans are running their channel. It's based on their name. So for me, it's like, how can you take what they're doing with content, change the perspective a little bit, pull it back away from a family per se, and pair that with, or I guess not what they're doing with content, what the opportunities their kids are getting because of their content, disassociate it from their name, and pair that with like thinking about like all these mountain bike YouTubers. All these mountain bike YouTubers, it's like they're having babies. They don't have kids. They're my age, but they're having babies. So it's like, why not do that? Have my kids, and then it's kind of like Porter Mountain Bike. Honestly, he's a pro, but now he's a YouTuber more than he is necessarily a pro. So the opportunities he's getting is because the content he's putting out, and now his kids are getting those opportunities on the back end because of that network that he's in. So thinking about all these opportunities with stuff here at Northwest Cup and micro shuttles, even Brekkie Breck, like thinking about filming with Connor Fields, USA BMX, and Transition, like figuring out a way to like really start to focus all of our efforts towards something that's going to be building a network, building experience. Even for me, like what if I went and spent one day a week in the shop and I just learned how to fix bikes, and learn a little bit more about the inside of the industry, right? And then we start to get deals at places. We start to get cheaper parts. Stuff starts becoming more accessible. And I think that's really the goal of what I'm trying to do, is instead of using their name and their progression as an opportunity to get that stuff, like using hard work and like us actually offering something as an opportunity to get free stuff basically. Anyway, that's my thoughts.